We are back with you now on Wave Listens Live, an important segment to get to right now because we want to remind you that Monday, October 7th, this is the last day to register to vote in the state of Kentucky, and AARP is with us. They've been fighting to protect the rights of all Americans, making sure, especially 50 plus, you can vote freely, easily, and safely. They've been at this for more than 35 years. So we've got some important info to get to during this segment. Gary Atkins, AARP Kentucky Volunteer State President, is the man to guide us through it. Good to have you on the show.
Good to be here today with you, Brian.
Okay, obviously we know that voting is important. It's important for all that are able to participate in that. So let's talk, though, about AARP's involvement in educating voters, making sure they know when, where, how to go about doing this.
Right. We've been doing this for more than 35 years across the nation, trying to make sure that folks know and understand how they can vote, where they can vote at, what the process is. And we've done this for a long time. We continue to do it because voting is important.
For those folks that are over 50, and we're looking at voters specifically, how do you see turnout for this year? How is it usually?
Well, it's going to be massive. In the 2022 election, we had over 63% of the population that was voting was 50 plus. That was a massive turnout, and the folks that are 50 plus are going to be key in this election and in every election. Women are going to be key in this election and every election.
These are folks that know that the issues, a lot of what we hear about, the plans that candidates are putting into place are going to have direct impact on you and your lifestyle, which is why we want to make sure that those folks who are impacted are done through some of this outreach. And let's talk about the outreach and voter education specifically, because you mentioned 35 years of doing this work. You guys have learned some things along the way about how to get in touch with these voters. What's been going on in that space recently?
Well, recently, last week we had a teletown hall telephone call with Secretary of State Michael Adams. Mm-hmm. And we did that here in Kentucky. We had a good turnout, massive turnout. Secretary Adams was able to talk about the upcoming election, and then we had voters from all over Kentucky calling in, asking questions of him that they had concerns about. So that went over very well. And then also, back in September, we had the AARP bulletin, and on page 33 of it, it had information about Kentucky voting specifically, and that went out to our 430,000 plus members that we have in Kentucky. So we're trying to get word out. We're trying to get it out through the bulletin. We're trying to get it out through the media and these events that we hold with, for example, with Secretary Adams.
I know that talking about getting some of the information out there, one of those key pieces is always any changes that happen in the voting. There's always something new, it seems like, around the corner, especially for those 50 plus have been voting a long time. Things may be different if you head to the polls this year. Any big changes you want Kentucky voters to know about?
Well, the big change basically is the early voting that we have available. And, of course, today is the deadline for registration to vote. You have to register to vote by 4 o'clock today. It can be either done by going to your clerk's office, contacting your county clerk's office, or doing it online through the Secretary of State's website. But the other things that we have that are new, relatively new, is we have 6 days of excused in-person voting where you can go through your clerk's office, explain that you're going to be out of town or out of the county and won't be able to be voting on the 5th of November, and you can come in on 6 days. It's the 23rd through the 25th of October, and then the 28th through the 30th of October. So that is a good thing.
Another option for folks.
Another option. And then the third option that we have is to be able to come in between the 31st of October and the 2nd of November. And that's no excuse. You can come in and vote during the 8 to 4 during the day. It gives the people here in Kentucky the opportunity to vote early, to get it over with, and also so it doesn't clog up things
Avoid the
so
lines.
much on the 5th of May, 5th of November.
You're thinking Derby Day.
I'm thinking all kinds of things. But yeah, it's a great opportunity to be able to get out early and be able to vote. And we have information through our outreach that we've done, also with AARP.org/KY votes, as a way of getting information out to people here in Kentucky about information about the election.
We have got that website you were just mentioning on the bottom of your screen. If you need to take that down, you can see what the website looks like, so this will be a familiar site if you go to that page. We've got about a minute left. Last thing I was wondering to ask, Gary, is it seems like there's always a need for polling place workers. We hear about this almost every year. Kentucky, no different. We need more polling workers.
That's probably the case. When Secretary Adams was speaking last week with us and with the folks that were participating in the teletown hall, he was talking about that. And yes, there is a need across the state for poll workers. I think they can get paid like $200, but it's a very, very long day.
Sure.
But in order to make sure that we have the election running smooth, you have to have those poll workers there, and whether you are a primary or an alternate, it doesn't make any difference, because if somebody who is a primary becomes sick and they can't come to the poll that day to work, then the clerk's office has alternates that they can use to fill in those spots.
Backups to help. Well,
That's right.
Gary, I want to thank you for all you're doing to help educate our voters 50 plus. Thanks to AARP for doing this. And one last reminder, you got to register. Do it today. There's that website, AARP.org/KY votes. Some fantastic information if you are voting over the age of 50. Stay with us here on Wave Listens Live. One more great segment to go, highlighting the new Vintage 99 Motorcycle Museum, Bed and Breakfast, and Birch and Oak Boutique and Salon. We've got those details. All kinds of stuff coming your way after this break.